everyone, this is Patricia here, and welcome to Turtle Talk, where we have all turtles all the time. This is the podcast where we talk about everything Ninja Turtles related. Movies, TV shows, video games, toys, the works. Grab your pizza, sais, and katanas. Sit back and relax as we talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Brought to you by oldschoollane.blogspot.com, manicexpression.com, thecomicbookcast.com, the Reopen Nickelodeon Studios Facebook page, and the PlayStation YouTube channel.
Hey everybody, it's me, Kevin.
And Patricia.
And welcome to another episode of Turtle Talk. And boy, do we have a lot to tell you guys. First, we're going to start off by talking about the 1 hour special, the Manhattan Project, not Wormquake. I know there was a lot of talk about that, why Nickelodeon on their website called it Wormquake, and it was actually called the Manhattan Project. Even Ciro Nelly pointed that out on his Facebook page. We're going to talk about the trailer, and we're also going to talk about some other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle related news. But first off, let's talk about the Manhattan Project. We're going to do a review. We had a lot to talk about, actually, because it was a 1 hour special. What happened was that Nickelodeon on their website had it up for free. And then when they put it back, they aired it on Friday night as a 1 hour special. And there is certainly a lot to talk about here, especially because, now, before I begin, this is a spoiler alert. Now, although the episode had already aired, and it's no longer on the Nickelodeon website, unless they put it back up, because it wasn't up there for some time, because it was going to be aired on Friday. If you have not seen the episode, then please be advised not to listen to this podcast unless you want to watch it for yourself. You can catch it on iTunes, or whatever sites you stream, or I'm sure Nickelodeon's going to have it up on their on demand. So if you don't want to hear about it, then don't listen. But if you do want to hear our take on it, then please, by all means, plug in those earphones or crank up the volume and get ready. The reason why this was so special is because it had cameo appearances by the classic 1987. Not 1988. If there's one thing I cannot stand about fans is that they always associate the animated series with the year 1988. That was the second season, and the year that the action figures came out. It was actually 1987 that the animated series had premiered, and it premiered on syndication. It came on to CBS in 1990. So I get a little frustrated with people when they say the 88 Turtles. It's not the 88 Turtles, it's 1987 Turtles. And if you don't believe me, you can look it up on Wikipedia or check on the end credits at the end of the first season, and it'll say 1987. Anyway, we get the cameo appearances of the four turtles because that's really the meat of what this episode was. In fact, a lot of people... Now, I'm not saying this was a bad episode. We'll get into that a lot. But what really was the whole... The meat, as I said again, and what really made this episode what it was the cameo appearances. And that also had cameo appearances of the voice actors of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Cam Clark as Leonardo, Barry Gordon as Donatello, Townsend Coleman as Michelangelo, and Rob Paulsen as Raphael. Now, even though Rob Paulsen is doing currently Donatello, he was the original voice of Raphael. And I have to say, it was I loved it. I really did. In fact, I watched it probably about 5 times, even though it was short. A lot of fans were upset. In fact, a lot of fans were angry at Zero because they wanted the 87 Turtles to kind of have a bigger part. And a lot of people, when they found out that that they were going to appear, a lot of people was hoping this was going to be a Turtles Forever thing, where the 2012 Turtles were going to interact with the 87 Turtles. From what I understand, unless it's confirmed, they are going to return in the season finale. So, and because Rob Paulsen had stated a couple of months ago that the 87 Raphael talks to the 2012 Donatello. And another great cameo appearances was 87 April O'Neil and Casey Jones, although his appearance was in 1989, which was the same time the action figure had came out. But we'll call him 87 Casey Jones because that's when the show came out. They had no speaking parts, although I think it would have been awesome if Pat Fraley and Renee Jacobs had came back to do the voices. But I think Ciro did this because he was afraid that, again, this was just something special for the fans. And, I'm kind of glad because, I actually love the cameo appearances, but I'm also afraid that a lot of fans are saying, well, we want to see the 2003 Turtles with the 2012, and yeah, I'm all for that, or the 1984 Turtles, like in Turtles Forever. But I'd rather they kind of keep it as a surprise. Like, I felt like a kid opening his presents on Christmas time. I really kind of hope that they don't overdo it and it becomes overkill. Because while I love the references, I love the re-imaging of classic characters, and I love the homages to like all the different Ninja Turtle incarnations, I do love the new stuff. So I have to say that the cameo appearances was awesome, and I cannot wait to see them again. And I was so happy that the original voice cast was back. I really felt like a kid again, and I think you will too when you see it. In fact, it inspired me to take all my old Ninja Turtle toys and sort of display them. I have like a little mini display on my desk. I also am happy that Razar, a.k.a. Dog Pound, a.k.a. Chris Bradford, is back, and we're seeing more of him. I love Razar. I love this new Razar. Why I like this new Razar is because even though in the original series, in the 87 series, Townsend Coleman did Razar and gave him like this elegant dialogue, and in the 91 movie, Frank Welker kind of gave him just growls. But this Razar looks freaking terrifying. I mean, he looks like a werewolf. In fact, I actually think that the inspiration for that was from Joe Dante's 1981 classic horror film, The Howling, because of the way of his appearance. He's got like that rib cage sticking out, and I just love this Razar. I really do. And I like Chris Bradford because he's a new character, and I definitely like the Chuck Norris look. And Dog Pound is like one of my favorite new villains, along with Snakeweed and Fishface, and Neutralizer. Because I just love the character of Dog Pound. I kind of wish we had more of him before he got double mutated. It was nice to see Razar kicking ass with the Turtles. I know a lot of people want to see Toka, and I know a lot of people want to see Fishface get double mutated, but only time will tell when that will happen. I'm really kind of hoping he probably will get double mutated because as much as I love the character of Fishface, when you watch The Manhattan Project, which is actually, by the way, the title is reference to the classic Nintendo video game, The Manhattan Project, he kind of looks very meek in front of Razar, although Razar is not, Razar is bigger than Fishface, stronger than Fishface. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about Fishface because of the robotic legs, and without the robotic legs, he'd be just a fish, on the floor. But I really like how they're giving this Razar more exposure, and that he's not just going to be, a background character. Tiger Claw was hands down is probably one of my favorite villains. I know I just listed some of my favorite villains, but now that we got to see Tiger Claw, oh my god, he is badass. Okay, he is, he's kind of like Frieza in a way from Dragon Ball Z Kai. He'll tear you apart with words, and he'll tear you apart with his claws and with his ray gun that he uses. And I love that they gave him this backstory that he was mutated as a child, which obviously you don't see, by the way, because, of censors, and I don't think a lot of parents are going to like to see kids getting, burnt to death by this mutagen. As we saw in Pulverizer Returns, that was pretty traumatizing when Timothy got mutated into Mutagen Man. But Tiger Claw was just friggin' awesome, and I cannot wait when they release the action figure of him, because I'm going to buy that toy, because it was just so cool how he had the fight scenes with Splinter. One thing I do want to point out, a lot of people were hoping that Splinter's fear of cats was going to come back because Tiger Claw is a tiger, and that's in the cat family, and they were kind of hoping that he was going to have this sort of weakness where he couldn't battle him. But surprisingly, when it came to his sons, Splinter did not give a damn and was going to beat the crap out of Tiger Claw. And it was great to have Tiger Claw and Splinter fight. And it was great to see Splinter actually kick some ass. Although in the early incarnations we don't see that much of Splinter, but he came up to the surface when Leonardo called him for help, and they're on that rooftop, and Splinter and Tiger Claw just went at it.
Yeah, it was just as good as when Splinter was fighting off against the Rat King in the previous episode of Rats and Men.
Well, yeah, but a lot of people were kind of hoping that, because in the 1987 TV series, there was a running gag that he was afraid of cats. In the episode where April turns into a cat, Splinter was mortified. He could not go near April, and even though he tried to tell April that I'm your, it's me, Splinter, he was afraid. And then, it becomes this running gag throughout Turtle lore that Splinter hates cats. And what happened is that a lot of fans were hoping that this was going to be his Achilles. He can't fight him because he's a cat and that he will eat him. But technically, I don't know if tigers eat rats, so I think that's to his advantage. Another quick thing, and then I'll give the floor to Patty because Patty certainly has a lot to say about this. Another thing I really loved was the return of Shredder. Now Shredder is back on the throne. He's going to start taking over the Turtles. And a little spoiler for Season 3, Shredder, I'm not going to give too much away until later or when we're ready, but Shredder is now going to play a bigger role. So for all you fans who are complaining that, we don't see enough Shredder, you're going to see a lot of Shredder now that he's back in New York. And now that he lost the fight in Manhattan Project, he's going to be coming up with a lot of interesting ways to kind of put the Turtles, to destroy the Turtles and Splinter. Now he's out for blood. And, this Shredder is really badass, and I think he's going to come up with some really menacing ways. Another thing is that Karai finally noticed that her father is Splinter. At the end of the episode, it's revealed. He reveals to everyone that Karai is his daughter, and Karai overhears this when she's on top of the roof. When she's on the rooftop, hiding behind the billboard, and that's going to open a lot of doors, and we're probably gonna see where that direction's going to go because now she realizes that Splinter's telling the truth, and that it was actually Shredder who took her away from Splinter. And actually, it was him who had lied to her all these years. So we're going to have to see how that goes. And lastly, and this is it, this is the episode where Donatello has to put all his feelings aside from April and save Casey. There's been a lot of not controversy, but a lot of talk. A lot of people, now that Casey Jones is playing a bigger part in this series, which is good because I like this Casey Jones. And we're going to be, hopefully we won't be seeing a lot of lovey-dovey, because that's the one thing I really don't want, is that they satirize it with them kissing a lot, I don't want it to be where they're going to be holding hands a lot, because then it's going to be like, okay, we got a love story, even though in the comics and all that happened, but I really hope that they focus more on the episodes, and when they have Casey and April is going to still be the badass and help the Turtles fight and all that stuff, all that good stuff, but it was great that Donatello could finally put his feelings aside and help him. And when Casey gets captured by that worm monster mutant, Donatello really has a lot of thinking to do. And it shows that these characters are not just one. They got a lot of depth in them, and they got feelings and emotions. And when they're angry, they're angry. When they're upset, they're upset. And when they feel ashamed, they feel ashamed. So it was great to see Donatello actually saying, "Hey, you know what? I love April, I really do, and she'll always have a place in my heart, but she really loves this guy. She really likes this guy." I wouldn't say I love, because they're only, they only met, it's only going on the fourth episode they met, so, he asked her on a date, in the episode previously with the Rat King, so, it's like, I hope they're not going to really rush it, and then, by the end of the season, they're going to be officially going out and then having a baby, which I'd be really appalled at, because it's like, come on, really, this is not Harry Potter, let's not rush everything. But I really liked how Donatello was able to save Casey and then able to pick himself up and be like, okay, you know what, I have to save a life now. So that's really it. So Patty, tell us what you thought about the Manhattan Project.
It was freaking awesome. After of Rats and Men brought the stakes so high, I didn't know if this 1 hour special was going to be able to top it, but it does. It really does. And it's probably, without a doubt, one of the best episodes of not only this incarnation, but in any animated Turtles series that ever came out. It was just done so well. It had a great balance of action and humor and depth with the characters. There was just so much that happened in this 1 hour special that this is the TMNT movie that fans truly, truly deserve. If you're a fan of the current Turtles, if you're a fan of the 80s Turtles, I highly recommend that you check this out. And even if you're not, you should start watching this.
What did you think of the 1987 animation?
I loved it. They did it so well. It was like they got the original animators for the 1987 series and brought them over into the 2012 series just for this little moment. So overall, what I have to say about the 1 hour special, watch this one and not the movie, which the trailer has finally been released.
Should I start, or do you want to go? Because I have a lot to say.
Alright, well, right before you start talking about how you feel about the trailer, I might as well give a synopsis. So, get this. Eric Sachs, aka The Shredder, by William Fichtner, is the one who's narrating. And it talks about destiny and crime affecting all over New York City, and then we have Megan Fox's April coming along, and she learns about all this, and then eventually Foot Clan start terrorizing the entire city, and then we have the Turtles coming by, and April gets freaked out, and then we have all these action scenes and these goofy moments, and then we cut into the logo of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Then finally it has the release date of August 8th, 2014. So, yeah. Kevin, what did you think of the trailer?
Okay, what did I think of the trailer? Well, it fucking sucked. Okay? Where do I begin? Let me count the ways. Let me get my roster as I wrote everything down. What sucks? Number one, Megan Fox. Oh, Megan Fox. I think Megan Fox was horrible casting choice as April O'Neil. When we first learned that Megan Fox was getting the role of April O'Neil, I, of course, was on the fence. Everybody was much open about it, and everybody was like, oh, give her a shot. Because, ever since Heath Ledger's The Joker, that has been, like, the new excuse. Like, well, Heath Ledger made a bunch of crappy movies before The Dark Knight, and when he did The Dark Knight, he's, like, considered the best Joker ever. So, we can't judge a book by its cover. Well, when I watched the trailer and I saw Megan Fox's performance, it did not scream April. You know what it screamed? It screamed Kristen Stewart. Okay? There was no energy. There was no acting. Okay? It was very bland. She was not your typical news reporter. She did not remind me at all of the 1987 April O'Neil, because that's what they're really going for. She seemed like Megan Fox, and Megan Fox is a terrible actress. I did not feel convinced that she was April. To me, she was just a pretty face. To me, she just seemed like someone that was just popping out of the covers of a Playboy or a Maximum magazine. And to me, that's not April. I don't know why they just bothered to give her a yellow thin hoodie. Why don't you just not give her a yellow hoodie at all? Because she wore yellow in the cartoon series, take it off. Just make her wear regular clothing if you're just going to have her wear that little piece of article clothing that, hey, that reminds us of the 1987 TV show. Megan Fox was just terrible. I just don't think she's going to pull this off very well. I know that a lot of people are going to call me the hater, Michael Bay's Megan Fox, but I just do not feel convinced. Look, I know this is not an Academy Award-winning Oscar role, but this is not April. There are so many talented and better actresses that could have been fit for the role and could have impressed the audience even more. I just don't know why the hell they had to pick her. I gotta be honest with you, I don't like the design of the Turtles at all. I think I have to agree with a lot of people that Michelangelo looks like Shrek on steroids, especially when he took off the mask. I'm like, am I watching a DreamWorks Michael Bay version of Shrek with steroids? The Turtles' designs look terrible. I don't know why they couldn't go with the classic design, why they have to give them all that friggin' gear. The only thing that sort of kind of impressed me, and I had to block out Megan Fox's oddly shaped head, was when Leonardo was on the roof with the fire behind him with the katanas. But at the same time, the whole samurai outfit, or whatever the kind of outfit it was just like, what is that? Okay, look, I like the actor a lot who's playing Shredder. I think he's a great actor. I do like him a lot. But I don't know how this is going to really play well. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm on the fence with this a lot, and I know there's a lot of people who are on the fence, but there's also a good handful of people who are for this and are going to be their opening night in tents waiting to see this movie because they just want to see a Ninja Turtle movie in theaters, and they really don't give a shit who directs it. The guy who directed Noah could direct the Ninja Turtles movie and make it as artsy as he wants, and they wouldn't give two craps. I actually don't like Will Arnett playing Vernon. I really don't. I don't like how Vernon is going to be now this likable, kick-ass character, because Vernon was always the crutch in April O'Neil. He always wanted to sniff her out of a scoop. He always wanted to backstab her. He wasn't a villain, but he was just a dicky character. And that's what made him so appealing, and was also made him appealing was with his one-liners. And I honestly think that Neil Patrick Harris would made a hands-down better Vernon than Will Arnett. Why? Because Neil Patrick Harris is hilarious. How I Met Your Mother, anyone? Barney Miller is like one of the most sarcastic, witty characters in television, and I think Neil Patrick Harris nails that character to the T.
Well, I don't know about that, because a lot of people are really disappointed about the series finale of How I Met Your Mother.
I'm not talking about How I Met Your Mother. I'm talking about, as an actor, Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just letting you know about that. Some people are still a little itsy about that ending.
Yeah, well, I never watched I Met Your Mother. I only know about the character, and I never. I'm going to be honest. I never seen one episode, but how I know about the character and how I know about How I Met Your Mother was because a friend of mine who was trying really, really hard but failed to get me into the show had showed me all the best of Barney Miller clips on YouTube, and I love Neil Patrick Harris. I grew up with Doogie Howser. I love his cameo appearances in movies, his random cameo appearances like in Harold and Kumar and The Muppets and all that, and Dickie Roberts. And I saw that and I laughed, and I really liked the character, but it didn't sold me enough to want to watch the show and buy the Blu-rays and DVD seasons. But if you watch Barney Miller, you will know that that's very mirrored off of Vernon if you watch the original series. My choice of people who could play April, and I'll say this one more time and I'll make it quick. Sarah Paulson from American Horror Story. She did a kick-ass job of playing a news reporter. She was tough as nails, was ready for a scoop, ready to expose Briarcliff. I think Amy Adams, as much as I did not like her Lois Lane, I think she would be great because she does really well in these franchise movies like The Muppets and Superman. Like, I didn't like her as Lois Lane, but Superman, Man of Steel made a lot of money at the box office, and she's a big name in Hollywood, although I'm sure she probably would ask for a lot of money for it because she's now a big celebrity star. Hell, I would even go with Kate Dennings, as much as I don't like her, and I found her character to be extremely annoying in the Thor movies. I thought it was a waste of a character, to be honest. I actually thought that because she has humorous, if you see Two Broke Girls, she's got that humor. She could definitely play April, because April's has witty remarks. She has witty comments, I just was not impressed with the trailer at all. This is just going to be... And I know Michael Bay, for a fact, doesn't care how the trailer is going to be. He's just out to make money, The result they see in this, fans are going to be hugely disappointed. Kids are going to love it because of the toys. I think that Nickelodeon and Paramount are going to make a lot of money because Toys R Us is going to have shelves filled with toys and role-playing masks. Will critics like it? It's to be determined. I think they most likely will because they gave Muppets Most Wanted 4 stars on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, and I hear from a lot of people that it sucked. So, and Captain America got 4 stars, and I heard a lot of mixed reviews about that. So, but I really did not like the trailer at all. I did not like the way it ended. I did not like Eric Sachs. I don't like Eric Sachs. I don't know why you would call Shredder this menacing villain. I give him a last name called Socks. Okay, that does not Eric Socks. Does that sound menacing to you? I feel like doing laundry when I hear socks. I feel like going to my local laundromat and wash my socks when I hear that. And I'm going to say these last 2 things, and I'll give the floor to Patty because I know Patty, at this point, ladies and gentlemen, Patty wants to kill me because she's tired of hearing my rant. The whole point of Eric Sachs is that he wants to be a politician. He actually, from what we understand, worked with April's father in creating the Turtles. And then because he's a corrupt politician, he actually wants to cause crime. So you want to clean up crime, but yet you want to start crime. Do we see a conflict there, ladies and gentlemen? And lastly, there's also a rumor, and it's also been confirmed, but we cannot confirm it because we don't know how it's true. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it first. Master Splinter is going to be April's father. The scientist who helped create the Turtles was April's father, and people are going with the assumption, and they say it's confirmed. We cannot say it's confirmed because there's no evidence, but they said that he's going to get mutated, and it won't be until the end of the movie that we find out that the the American rat who just decided to train his turtle mutant sons ninja because he had no experience in martial arts whatsoever, unless on a side hobby he took up karate. He took up a karate school after he was playing with beakers and test tubes all day. He is going to be April's father. So I'm very sore about the way they're going with this, and I know Michael Bay doesn't give a damn. They already announced they were going to do 2 more movies, and I can guarantee you Rocksteady and Bebop and Krang are probably going to be in the second one, and Casey Jones. What would I like to see? I would like to see a CGI black and white animated movie based on the 1984 comic book, drawn like the 1984 comic book. And because we're going to go back to the origins, why not do the first 3-4 issues? Or we can do a live-action adaptation of the 2012 series so that kids who go see this movie are not going to wonder, why is April holding a microphone when she's supposed to be a 16-year-old girl in high school in the current series?
I have no idea, but I gotta say is, when I saw the trailer for the first time, it didn't feel like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It felt like watching Transformers again. Just the feel and the tone just felt like Michael Bay's Transformers. I didn't feel any distinction between Turtles and, his Transformers movies. I saw both Transformers 4, Age of Extinction, and I saw the Turtles trailer, and they both pretty much felt the exact same thing. There was no distinction. There was no screaming out, hey, this is about the Turtles. No, it felt kind of bland. It felt too action-packed, and it felt too ridiculously goofy. It didn't really exactly mesh very well, and I was very disappointed. James from Manic Expression was disappointed about this. In his newest video, James's Corner, when he was talking about the trailer, instead of being heroes because of a random accident, they're destined to become heroes. And, this whole destiny thing is becoming too synonymous for superheroes. It's no longer about that we can be able to relate to the characters anymore. Because, as you know from the original, the turtles, they were just little turtles from a pet shop that a little boy picked up. And then all of a sudden, this random truck with toxic waste comes along, and it just crashes down, and, the little boy accidentally drops them, and then the turtles just went into the sewers, and the toxic waste dumps on them, and it dumps on the rat trained by Hamato Yoshi. And then all of a sudden, you have, the turtles training to become the heroes that we would know and love. But no, in the trailer, it's all about destiny, and it's all about, we need a hero. Who's gonna save us? I mean, sure, they're turtles, but every single person can be able to identify with at least one. Like, Leonardo, who's the leader, and he's always training to be the very best. Or Raphael, who has anger issues, and he's always fighting, but at the same time, he wants to protect his brothers and New York City. Or Donatello, who's the smart one, and he's always underestimated, but he constantly saves the day with his wits and his know-hows with technology. Or Michelangelo, who's the goofy one and who loves pizza and partying, and he's always, he always comes up with random ideas to fight off the villains. It just felt like they were trying to copy off of everything that superheroes are trying to do by making it about destiny, like Man of Steel, Clark Kent is destined to save Metropolis from Zod, and Spider-Man from The Amazing Spider-Man is destined to fight off against all the people whom his father was trying to take down in Oscorp. And come on, I mean...
Not to cut you off, I think... It's sad because it's following the same trend of all these comic book movies, and I think what they want to do is that they want to make sure that it follows the same path as everything. I wouldn't be very surprised, although I didn't get this in the trailer. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't go with the route of the Avengers, and at the end they do the same style as the Avengers when they're about to kick Shredder's ass. You see all 4 turtles. About to, Leonardo with his katana by his neck, and Donatello with his bow, and Raphael and Michelangelo, and I could only imagine that they're going to do a similar stunt like Avengers when Loki's like, okay, I'm ready to go to jail now. I just got that feeling that they're just going to follow all the paths of all the other previous comic book movies, which is really sad because Marvel has such a unique, has been since X-Men, had such a style about that, and I really hope that they don't copy that. But again, I won't put it past them because the Avengers is like one of the biggest top grossing comic book movies ever made, and I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Bay was like, we got top Avengers, so let's cheat off everything they did, you know? I also want to just add one more thing, and I want to know if you agree with me on this. I really didn't like Raphael's design the most because if you notice, he's bigger than all of them, and when they showed those shots of him in the trench coat, he looks fucking scary. Did you see that when you just see when you just see the glasses and the scarf and the big thing behind his back?
Yeah, he looks more like a stalker.
My screenwriting partner actually thinks they look like demons in the CGI.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. The turtles are supposed to be friendly looking. If they're supposed to be heroes trying to save New York City, then they shouldn't be looking scary, especially for the little kids who are most likely going to be watching this.
What would you do if all the kids who saw this movie, like all the little kids, I'm talking about maybe 5 or 7 or 8, what would you do if all the young kids who go see this are terrified of the turtles and it loses money?
Oh man, and that's over. Nickelodeon hasn't exactly had their best reputation of starting off franchises, with the exception of Rugrats. They try to do the same thing with releasing a franchise for the Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events, the Spiderwick Chronicles, and of course, The Last Airbender. But of course, those movies tanked so hard, and those were giving so much negative responses that they never got a continuation. So if this movie flops, then of course it's not going to get a continuation. It's probably going to get another reboot by somebody who's hopefully more competent.
I agree.
While we're on the subject of TMNT, just a few days ago, I got an announcement that they had finally had casted 3 more actors to be a part of this movie.
And who's that?
Okay. So apparently, Pete Plosek, who plays as Leonardo, he's not going to provide his voice for Leonardo.
Wait. The actor who they got originally to play Leonardo, they fired him?
No. Pete Plosek will be Leonardo, like in the suit and all, but he's not going to be the voice of Leonardo.
Oh, yeah, I know. They said that.
Yeah, but guess who is going to be the voice of Leonardo?
Who?
Johnny Knoxville.
No, he's not.
No, I'm not joking. This is a legit thing.
That was just atrocious.
Yeah. I'm speechless. And also they got another person to provide the voice of another character. Now, we already discussed about in a few months ago that Danny Woodburn is going to be Splinter. But he's not going to provide the voice of Splinter, which, thank fucking God.
What is fans' reactions to Johnny Knoxville not wanting to be being Leonardo?
Well, let's see. Johnny Knoxville from Jackass and Bad Grandpa. He's going to be the leader of the group. This is just influencing that Michael Bay is targeting the muscle-bound, exploding savvy, incompetent, brain-dead audience that everybody seems to love about him. And this is a prime example of this. The same guy who does a whole bunch of stunts like, jumping off of buildings and getting run over by things and dressing up like a girl or an old man is going to be the leader of the Turtles.
Not only that, what really bothers me is that his voice does not say Leonardo. I thought they were going to get the actor from Shameless, the main male actor, to do the voice of him.
I know. I mean, that would have been a little better. I mean, he's only been in 1 episode of Shameless and 1 episode of Parks and Recreation, but I was, looking forward to actually hearing from him. But no, they wanted Johnny Knoxville.
I really can't wait to hear what people's reactions are to that, because I know a lot of people don't think he's a very good actor. In fact, a lot of his movies barely made any money at the box office. So who did they get for Splinter, and who's the last actor? Okay,
so the person who will be voicing Splinter is Tony Shalhoub.
That's really random. Okay.
Yeah, I know, it's really random. The guy who was Monk is going to be the voice of Splinter.
I can't picture him doing he doesn't have that voice.
No, he doesn't. Alright, now we're going to the final one. So, apparently from what I read, Karai is going to be in this movie. And she's going to be performed by Minae Noji. That Japanese woman from General Hospital?
Wow.
They just released this information about all this other character inclusion, so... Yeah, it's kind of weird how all of a sudden...
This is going to look like a big mess. I think they should just cut their losses and just... start from scratch. I mean, if they really care about the franchise, and if they really care about if the movie does well, even if Michael Bay is attached, I really think they should just stop what they're doing, because you're adding a whole new character. How are you going to do all that by August? I mean, I don't understand. I don't know. I may not know how film works, but I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure that out. And if you're going to bring in a new character, especially Karai, who's like really well liked, I just think they're rushing everything.
Yeah, I still have no idea how they're going to do this. But yes, so that's basically all the new information that we got for now, and we'll be discussing more, as the months progress, and we'll, and when the movie comes out in August or December, if the rumors are true, then I'll be giving a review of the movie and tell you if you should check it out or not. But
I'm also going to make an announcement. I'm actually also going to see the movie too, because I feel inclined to see it, only because I can't do that to Patty and let her suffer. So I put it on my calendar that I'm going to see it on August 8th. So
all right, well, we'll both
sure, folks.
Yep, we'll both see it on August 8th, and then hopefully, if our brain cells are still intact, then we'll discuss about how we feel about the movie.
Well, I can tell you right now, it's looking to be a mess.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, well, that's it for the news, and that's it for the animated show. New episodes of the animated show will be coming out around late April, and
it's going to come out on the 27th of April. Just to mark your calendars, this will be on a Sunday, and it's going to be called Mutant and Mazes, and basically this is going to be a satire or a homage to Dungeons and Dragons. The Turtles find a board game, an old board game, and they play the game, and the game becomes a reality. So it's kind of a cross between Dungeons and Dragons and also Jumanji. So if you're a board game lover, you're going to really appreciate this. And this is also probably going to be the first appearance of Sir Malachi.
Okay, so right before we go, another thing that we were talking about over the past couple of months. So Kevin will be giving you the tips and tricks on how to tell from a soft head to a hard head figure for when you're buying your TMNT toys.
When you buy the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys from the 1988 line, you have to keep in mind that they at first made a series of soft head figures when the line first started, and that consisted of Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael, Splinter, Shredder, Rocksteady, and Bebop, and the Foot Soldier. Basically, all the figures with the exception of April. And the four turtles, how you can tell they're soft heads is by simply that they have the Club Saver, which was this white little flyer that you could send away to Playmates, and you would get the color bandana of your favorite turtles, the color bandana of your favorite turtle. So if you got blue, if you wanted blue, you get Leonardo. If you got orange, you get Michelangelo. Purple Donatello, and red Raphael. It's very hard to tell the difference between soft heads when you buy them on eBay, because a lot of sellers like to lie and they'll sell them for more money than they're worth. A lot of people sell those higher because the soft heads are very limited, and they didn't make a lot of them. So you could easily tell by clicking on the image and enlarging it, and you could definitely tell by the paint and the texture of the head. Also, the soft legs have shinier legs and shinier arms. For some odd reason, they're like glossy almost. So you can definitely tell by that. Also, there are two April O'Neil figures. There was a blue stripe and a clear stripe. The clear stripe is more valuable because that was supposed to have the look of the '87 TV series at the time. But then they gave her a blue stripe, and she was also supposed to have a press. Another rare was that a lot of Aprils had the press tag on her breast pocket, but they took that out because they were afraid kids were going to pull that off and thinking that there was going to be like a little picture of April. So that's how you can tell the difference between soft heads and hard heads. Hard heads, you can easily tell because the head is very, it's a little bit darker. It's less darker than the soft heads. I'm sorry. And also, like I said, the club flyers, which I have, they have it on the right side of the toy behind their weapons. I was lucky to obtain all four turtles in the stripeless April, and I'm planning to get Splinter and Shredder. The difference how to tell between the soft head Shredder and the hard head Shredder is that the Shredder head is turned all the way to the left. That's how you can tell if that is a soft head. And also, the mask is a light blue. If it's a hard head, it is a dark blue. Usually they made a very few dark helmets and soft heads, but how you can easily point out a soft head is the light color blue. Those are a lot harder to obtain. I was very close in getting that, but I didn't win the thing on eBay. Another way you can tell if Bebop has the soft head is his face is very pink. They made his texture very pinkish when they did the soft head, and then his hard head is a dark brown. So that's another way you can point out between the soft heads. But the Rocksteady and Bebop toys go for a lot of money because they're like the most well-liked characters from the series. So if I was everybody, I would just start off small if you want to start your collection. I would recommend you get the 4 Turtles first and then get April, and then work your way to getting Rocksteady and Bebop last, and then get Splinter and Shredder, and then get the Foot Soldiers. So the Foot Soldiers are also a lot of money too. The soft heads, especially for some odd reason.
Okay, wonderful. And of course, we're still awaiting for a review of the TMNT video game.
I'm on it. I'm going to be doing it.
Okay.
So a lot of things coming around, but I definitely will do it.
All right. So that concludes this episode of Turtle Talk. So tune in next time as we'll be talking about more episodes of TMNT, and then hopefully we can be able to talk about other TMNT news. So as we say here, Cowabunga, Booyakasha, whatever you want to call it. See you in the next one.
Good evening, good night, whatever, all that other jazz.